let's back up. In luxury,
Mhm.
I personally don't think luxury is the same as traditional real estate. I think that there is a different niche and there's a different way that we should market, we should promote, and we should connect. So tell me about, you had mentioned that it shouldn't be called selling real estate, really, because that's not what we do. So tell me a little bit about what you think luxury real estate means to you.
Yeah, and I think about this a lot in our business. The national average, I'm sorry about that. National average for home sales is something like $220,000 for a house. I mean, our median sale price is 5 times that in Santa Barbara. So it's just a little bit of a different ballpark. And even at $1,250,000, that's not really even luxury in Santa Barbara. I mean, $7 million listings, things like that. So it's just very different. The example that I give is if you have an executive at, I love watches like Baume& Mercier. That's a very high-end watch company. It can be a $5,000, $10,000 watch. If you had an executive at Baume& Mercier talking to an executive at Trident Gum, they're both in retail and they're both in sales, and that's great. One's not better than the other, but things that would work for Trident wouldn't work for Baume & Mercier, and Baume & Mercier wouldn't work for Trident, because Trident would be saying, hey, the most important thing you need is to get on the checkout line. That's where people see the gum. They pick those last minute items up. They get a few packed for their car. That's why people buy gum. And that's fantastic. That is why people buy gum. And they make a lot of money that way. But Baume & Mercier would be saying, I don't think people are going to buy a $5,000 watch on a whim on a checkout line. So it's just having those conversations almost aren't even worth having, I hate to say it, between industries that are so vastly different. So it isn't particularly helpful for me to talk about my marketing and what I'm doing versus I always pick on Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have a good friend that lives out there. But an agent selling $150,000, $200,000 houses in Tulsa, Oklahoma and selling 200 units a year, that's a very different ball game than I have. I mean, we may do the same volume, but they have a 17-person team. And what motivates their buyers and sellers is just vastly different than what motivates my buyers and sellers in Montecito. So what I love about luxury specific conversations and events and networking is that it's just a different ballpark. We need to be talking about different things. It's different referrals. I don't typically get referrals from smaller markets. I get referrals from New York City, San Francisco, LA, Miami. So the networking is phenomenal. And then within that, when I say it's not, selling real estate, it's because you're selling a lifestyle. In the same way, bringing it back to watches, no one needs a $5,000 Baume & Mercier. No one needs a $200,000 Patek Philippe. It's all discretionary money, and they're deciding to spend it based on the lifestyle they see that asset or that watch bringing them. I mean, I have a beautiful $7 million house in Montecito. It has a guest house, infinity pool, ocean views. No one needs that house. They just don't. And most likely that will be a second, third, or fourth home, just from the demographics of the area that I'm aware of. And no one needs a second, third, or fourth home. So how do you market in a way that you showcase the benefits and the lifestyle change that you will get from owning this spectacular house? Because the opposite of that is a 28-year-old couple, the wife is pregnant, and they're renting a one-bedroom apartment. They're thinking, I need to buy it.
I need it now, and I need something cheap.
I need something. I have a pregnant wife. We need something more than a one-bedroom. You don't see that kind of urgency in the luxury world. So once again, one is not better than the other. It's just a different conversation. It's baseball and basketball, and to focus on what exactly you're doing. And the luxury real estate side tends to be more of a lifestyle marketing, I'd say, than the lower end, not lower end, but the more typical, nationwide average. Because nationwide average, there's a reason that the first thing you see are square footage and bed bath counts, because that's what's important. I mean, if you're not buying a palatial estate, okay, well, I have 3 kids and I need a 4-bedroom house of 3,000 square feet in this particular school district with a quarter acre of land for their play set. I mean, that's what you're looking at. You're not looking at, hey, I really want a George Washington Smith built in Montecito in 1922 because I love what he did with, architecture in that year.
Right. And I totally agree with you. And I do marketing for luxury and hard to sell listings. And it's a whole big marketing plan that I've developed and in the process of writing about, but it's not the traditional, what I call pick me marketing,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's how, that's how we get clients in the hustle and bustle of things is I'm the better real estate agent. I do this, I syndicate this, I do, it's more of a pick me type of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
In luxury, you really can't do that. It's more, I call it a product. I'm marketing a product. I'm like the Nike shoe sales company. When you walk into my Nike store, here are all my products. And my products are different levels of performance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not marketing the sales agent, I'm marketing my product. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how luxury is you have to market that product. Everything that comes with it. You have to market not only the house and the features, but the lifestyle, the amenities, the community. It's a bigger marketing plan than just saying, I've got this $300,000 listing and it's only going to be on the market for 24 hours, and
Yeah.
that's where I spend 90% of my time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And part of that is making the connections like this. It's making that relationship between agent and agent. Because I don't know if, when I first got into real estate, even though I built homes all the time, I was fascinated with HGTV and $1 million listing and things like that because I wanted to learn the lingo and I guess you could compare it to some of my friends who have learned English watching soap operas. I went in there and learned it. And it was more, I've got this $2.5 million listing. It's right on the golf course. Who do you know that might want it? And that was from agent to agent. That's not from a blanket marketing system where we just push it out and go, look at me, I've got a $2 million listing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And I want to learn more. I think that we can all learn from each other, little different techniques. But that's part of this too, is I want to learn more about how we can expand that and make it not so coveted. Does that make sense? Because there
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of things that in real estate, you had mentioned it's a very competitive market in luxury real estate, which I find opposite where I live. And so we need to kind of make it more universal, do you think? Or do you like the exclusivity of it? Do you like the fact that not everybody knows how to do it?
Um, I don't know. It's really whatever works for you. I think a lot of people like. I don't think I do very well in a different market. I mean, I'll just keep using Tulsa. I don't think I do very well with a 17-person team, having to churn and burn 300 sales a year just to make a tiny margin. I mean, there's a big team in Dallas that I know. They own their own moving trucks and all these. It was just a completely different business than mine. And I'm not even sure I do very well on that. One of the things we had discussed prior to this video conference is what drew me to luxury, and what draws me is I like to offer a certain type of service. I would much rather have 5 clients than 30 clients. If even with the exact same income, I'm not just talking about making more money, but the margins are high enough in higher end sales where I can treat my clients phenomenally well. I mean, yesterday, for example, we're dealing with a very interesting fire in Santa Barbara right now. It's called the Thomas Fire, and it's knocking on the door of being the largest fire in the history of California. So all of my listings were evacuated at one point. And one of my sellers was, stuck in a hotel, and I sent something very nice to his room. And I love the ability to have a margin to take care of people really, really well. I've had my assistant go and be involved in things that need to be done far outside of just putting a sign in front of their house. It's just full on concierge level service. And you cannot do that. You cannot do that when you're doing 300 sales a year. You just can't. The margins aren't there if your commission is $3,000 or something like that. But when you're looking at a 6-figure commission, you're still working incredibly hard. It's not that you're just cashing big checks, making more money. Sometimes, like I said, the income may be exactly the same, but it's just the type of service I would prefer to offer. I would much rather offer the type of service where I can really spend hours and hours and hours with clients. I can spend tons and tons of money on marketing to really make this home look just magical. Really get out of the box, really just do interesting things and make people feel really good about our experience. And you could do that when you have smaller. I mean, obviously I work with more than 5 clients a year, but it's not 300. So that's what drew me in. But that's not, like I said, it's not better or worse. I don't think that the people doing 300 units a year in Tulsa are treating their clients poorly at all, but it's a different type of experience. Instead of a team where they're working with the Dusty Baker real estate team, but really it's my buyer's agent's assistant's cousin who's working with them. I mean, they are working with Dusty Baker the entire time. And I am at their beck and call. Of course, I have a transaction coordinator and an assistant, things like that. But I am there as their real representation. So it's just, like I said, apples and oranges. And I don't think out here it's certainly not an exclusive group. It's actually very, very, very competitive. A lot of people say they want to get into a certain market, but they don't. I mean, I don't know what's more competitive in different markets, but
it's interesting. I totally agree with that. Like over the weekend, I had a client come from California and they were going to northern Utah, which is about a 4 to 5 hour drive from where I'm at. I'm actually in southern Utah next to Vegas. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to look at a bed and breakfast, and it's listed at 2.9, so of course I get in my car and I cleared my schedule and we went and we looked at the 2.9. And as we were talking, I thought, this is really where I want to be. I like this. I like to be able to clear my schedule and spend time with my client and go to lunch and experience, we stayed a day and we got to look at the lodge and we got to have the breakfast and experience the experience, because that's really what it is about. I don't feel like I could sell her that without really knowing a personal experience through that. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. But you have the time. There's margin for you to spend serious time with them. It's funny. I've never actually had to do this, and it's probably the silliest filter to look at clients, but I want all of my deals, all of my clients to have enough margin and have enough importance where if they needed me to fly internationally to get a document signed or get something done, it would be worth it. Like I said, never had to do that, but I want that type of service where if they said, listen, I'm stuck in Paris, I need this done, I need to sign this document, I need a wet signature, and we have a week to do it. All right, that's what we're doing. I can't actually imagine a scenario where I need to do that. So it's a silly filter, but you see where I'm going with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing that with, the Luxury Connect, and everybody was saying, did you get my referral? And, oh, thanks for the close. That was a great, that was the conversation I got from them. It was a tight-knit referral company and referral business. And that's kind of where I want to be too. I want to have a client say that comes in and says, I need somebody in New York, and I know somebody in New York. So we fly together and we meet them and we service that. Not just drop them off and go, oh, hey, check out this person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great service.
Yeah, it is. And I like to have that time and the budget as well. Absolutely.
It's great.
So I think that we're very like-minded in that respect, and that's one of the things that's one of the reasons why I think I'm drawn to Inman as well, is because everybody that really is with Brad and follows his magazine and takes time to contribute to that magazine really has that same belief.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That same type of thing. Okay, so we were talking about your biggest mentors earlier, and tell me about that. You spend most of your time surrounded by yourself and the people that you respect, is what your answer was, but tell me a little bit about that. Tell me how you use mentoring. Do you read books? Do you read personal, give me a little bit of an idea of what you do to be as successful as you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the quote that I gave you is there's a popular saying of you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I take that very seriously. I want to be around people where I really respect their family life, their business life, their personal life. And inevitably you'll sort of turn into the people you're around. Another funny saying is, if you hang out with 5 other millionaires, you'll shortly be the sixth. So I'm not just hanging around rich people, but people I really respect, their family and things like that. So I really do go out of my way to surround myself with just intelligent, good people. I mean, I literally just came from a lunch with an older gentleman I've known for a long time, very accomplished CPA, great family. And I love just picking people's brains like that. I mean, he's a good friend as well, but I put myself in situations like that. I also was very, very blessed where there were 2 local agents who have been top agents for the past, 25 to 35 years, really groomed me growing into real estate. So I got to see how they did things and conversations they'd have and negotiation tactics and marketing and things like that. So I was very, very, very blessed to spend a lot of time with one gentleman in particular who's a partner of mine for almost 8 years and really, really grow within that as well. So mentors are just invaluable. If there's one thing that people should focus on more, it's surrounding themselves with people they want to be like and getting mentors. And I've never seen someone insulted by someone asking them, "Hey, you seem like a really sharp guy. I really respect your marriage. I'd love to be mentored by you. We don't have to meet weekly, but maybe once a quarter we can grab lunch." There aren't too many people who will say no to that.
Well, no, and I think that mentoring is more than just, that we get into this whole paid guru thing, and where in order to be mentored, you have to go into this box and absorb everything. But the reality is, it is those meetings. It is even, I have friends on Facebook I've never met. I mean, face to face, other than now, like through Zoom and things like that, we can do that. But they've given me encouragement, or they've said something, or they've had a story or whatever that has really guided me into where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a lot of the same thing. I try to do, because I work from home a lot and I'm out with clients, and my family is my number one priority.
Yeah.
So I'm able to get in with and associate with higher groups of people through Facebook groups and things like that. And that's been fun too. So I consider them mentors as well.
Oh, sure. Anyone you can learn from.
Anyone you can learn from. Okay, so because we've had all the technical difficulties and the newness of this, I want to end this with any type of advice, encouragement, or anything to anybody that's watching who wants to become a luxury agent in their area and wants to use us maybe as their mentors. What kind of encouragement would you give them, and where would you let them start? Where would you say start here and build, and give me an idea of what you would tell somebody brand new or somebody wanting to break into the luxury industry?
Yeah, 2 aspects of that. One is, I always tell people, if you know where the finish line is of a race, don't run the whole race, just go right to the finish line. So for example, if you know you want to be a luxury agent, but you're with some random company that no one's ever heard of, and not a single person in that company is doing any sales, even moderately luxury or luxurious, go join a luxury company. If you're looking around and all the top agents are at 3 different companies, join one. If you know that you want to work in a specific area, and even if, like in LA, Bel Air, for instance, and you're thinking, well, I'm not like Bel Air ready, start marketing there. Just start there. If that's where you want to end up, start now. Don't start in some lame neighborhood just because you're too scared to jump into the neighborhood you really want to be in. So that aspect, really just jump to the finish line. Don't waste your time anywhere else. And then thrive in excellence. One of the ways that I sort of kept growing and growing and growing, I did not start with big sales. I didn't start with just a bunch of wealthy friends and I was representing them. I mean, my first sale was $365,000, I think. And that's insanely low for sale, insanely low. But do the best you can every single time. And I don't mean that in a cheesy way. I mean, do above and beyond. I mean, white glove service And if you're marketing, you don't even think about taking your own photographs. Get a professional photographer, professional videographer, professional floor plan. Get, amazing brochures. I do full 20 to 36 page magazine brochures for every single listing. I have a private website for every single listing. Go just above and beyond where people would almost be embarrassed, like, well, come on, this is just a small condo. And you say, no, this is the largest asset that you own. So I'm going to make it look perfect. Because other people, when they walk into an open house, when they're seeing your pictures online, everything you do to market a house markets you as well, which is great, which is why listings are key. But you're marketing this listing and it makes you look good as well. Right now I'm just lucky. All of my listings are just these beautiful homes. So I love taking ads out. I love the online presence. And sometimes not every listing is always beautiful. I'm just lucky right now. But the better you make the listing, the better you look with phenomenal photography, videography, out of the box marketing, brochures. It overwhelms everyone. The seller is happy. The other agents in town start to see you and see the way you're marketing, that you're catering events. And they start to respect you. They see you as luxurious before you even are luxurious. So it will quickly escalate. If you treat every single listing and buyer and client as if they're, a 10, $20 million client, you will shortly be working with $20 million clients. And then they deserve it anyway. Let's be real. Even if you aren't trying to climb the ladder, your clients deserve it. I had a friend buy a $550,000 condo recently. Okay, that's not a $20 million sale, but that's the biggest asset that they own. They went all chips in and they jumped in, and they deserve the best representation in the world because, okay, it's not the biggest payday for me, but it's a big step for them. And we have to respect the human aspect of that. And everyone will be happy if you're doing well like that, and you will grow.
I totally agree. I had a $54,000 park model trailer house, and the lady, that's what she lived in. That was her home. And to be able to provide professional photography and video and things like that, I totally agree. On that particular property, did everything that I would normally do on a $2 million listing, because that to them is their $2 million listing.
Oh, absolutely. Arguably, it's worth more to them than some of the higher end because, some people might be selling their fifth home or something like that. Whereas someone with a $50,000 mobile home, that's their whole career.
It is. And it's funny because when you talk, let me give you a little story. I know I was going to end, but then I told you I'm a talker. So when I was in real estate at the very beginning, I had another agent come to me and they said they literally get sick to their stomach when they walk up to a $600,000 house. They could never imagine selling a $600,000 house.
Because now, it's too high or too low?
In St. George, 600 is the start of our luxury.
Okay.
And we go up to about 3.9, and there's only a few of those. Our sweet spot really is 1.5 to 1.7.
Okay.
But it starts at 600. And me, I'm like, I put a tool belt on, and it's sheetrock, and it's 2x4s, and it's windows, and it's, eventually it's imported Italian tile, but it's still tile. It's still a structure. I couldn't really understand that. Yeah. And in that, I don't even know where I was going with that. We were talking about.
Well, it sounds like she was just intimidated of getting into the luxury division.
Yes.
And that's, frankly, if you don't have the confidence to get business, maybe you shouldn't be running your own business. But, you can also be worked on.
Yeah. I don't even know where I was going with that story because I have blonde hair. That's my only excuse. Thoughts come in, thoughts come out. But anyway, so I appreciate you being my guinea pig. This is our very first video we've ever done in this series, and I'm planning on doing 2 per week. And I promise you, I'll bring you back. I will be more fluent and I'll be ready to ask you the correct questions. And I hope that in the process we become friends and we become mentors to each other.
That would be great. I look forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Dusty. Again, it's Dusty Baker. He's out of Santa Barbara and Montecito. Did I say that right?
Montecito. Close.
Oh, see, yeah, it's them their hills in Utah, you know. Um, so if you want to meet with Dusty, you can find him. Tell me your website.
It's my name at dustybakerrealestate.com. Very easy.
Excellent. Um, and I will do like a little post as well. I'm going to try to do a blog. I'm going to try to make this work happy go lucky and make it into something. If not, then we'll for sure do it when we get reconnected.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Melinda. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate your time and your patience with me. And I promise next time it will be so much better.
That's okay.
Okay.
Happy to be a guinea pig.
Have a happy, merry holiday, Christmas event, December, and we'll talk again.
We'll talk again. Merry Christmas. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.